Hey everyone, welcome to another Friday with Dannphan. I guess it's been a little bit of a while since I've done one of these streams at this point. Just keep on missing weeks, it seems. Man, lighting is always such a pain whenever I start one of these things at night. How's everybody doing? Hopefully, your Friday has been going spectacularly so far. Let's see if I can do some light adjustments here. That's a little bit better, maybe. I feel like the shadows are constantly hitting my face in an unflattering way, but I'm no light expert here. I think I've made that quite apparent on the channel, that I know nothing about the tricks of lighting. It's beyond my reach. But yeah, so it's been a busy 2 months, I guess. Oh, thank you for the $5, Maverick Christian. I finally read It's Not Like Getting a Job Will Kill You. One thing I learned from it, don't smoke. Yeah, there you go. It's a good lesson. Don't smoke, kids. But yeah, last weekend, I suppose, I didn't do the Friday with Dannphan stream because I was actually going to EternalCon, and we hung out there. It was okay. It was all right. It was an all right convention. Obviously, like, it's one of my first that I've ever been to and sold at. So that was an interesting experience. I had a table in Artist Alley, and I had all my books and leftover posters from campaigns, and got to meet some cool people. So that was fun. Got to meet some creepy people too. That was also fun. Not people who knew the channel or anything, just like random creeps that are lurking around at those conventions. Actually, all the people who knew the channel were very cool. They were very chill people, and I appreciate that. But yeah, that's also part of the reason why I didn't have another video for this week. Just, too much at once. Gotta spread it out, even Steven. But yeah, that's what I was doing. And now that I'm back, we're back to fulfilling. We started, for those of you who got the Ultimate Bundle, the Vera standee in there, we started shipping these out. So check your mailboxes. They'll be there soon. I actually got to ship out another batch today. Hope I'm not too late. Yeah, we finally got the 3D printer working again. Thank God. So we're printing out more helmets to make sure everybody gets theirs. The one thing that we're waiting on is Adam's books. We had to switch printers with him somewhat last minute because the printer we were trying to work with just wasn't helping us, wasn't trying to work with us to make sure that the books came out good quality. That's a whole other story. But so we switched to this other printer, and it's coming in a bit late, I suppose. We're like tracking the order, but it just says in transit, and it doesn't really say where it is in the country or how long it's going to take to get here. I mean, I think the estimated arrival was yesterday, and it did not come yesterday. So hopefully it comes today or tomorrow. Anytime real soon would be very nice, because I would love to have this campaign fulfilled and out of the way. I hate delays. If there's one thing you should know about me, I absolutely can't stand delays. They're the worst. But we don't really have too far to go until we're done the Horizon Quest campaign, so just gotta hang in there for a little bit longer. And then it'll be up on the site, and I can put all my focus on the new project, which I guess I should show you guys for those of you who didn't hear the news about it. I'm working on this, which is another fantasy, funny enough. There was supposed to be space in between these two projects. It just didn't end up working like that. But that's what happens when your hard drive dies and you're not sure if you're going to get your files back or not. This was one of the cases where the stuff I was working on for this project, all gone. I still had the draft pages because I shared them with people, though. Well, the draft pages for the first book, not the second. But sometimes they say when you write something, some writers, what they do is they take that first draft and throw it in the trash and then just write it all from scratch again. And the second time they write it is like the better version. That's what I've heard anyway. Some people do that. So hopefully everything with Reaper will be the better version. That's how I'm going to look at it. But yeah, this is a dark fantasy that I've been looking to work on for a while now. And this is probably one of the biggest commitments that I guess I've made for a comic, because it's not just supposed to be one book. I wanted to do a book series with kind of longer manga volume by volume style stuff. So this first book is around 100 pages, which is pretty hefty. Black and white interiors, like manga, but what I'd like to do is do at least like one book every year or so. Maybe work my way up to 2 books in a year. Well, we'll see how it pans out, of course. But it's what I got right now. And I'm excited to show people more of this. But I'm not sure when I'll be launching. So what I'm saying for now is you go to the mailing list. If we get in like 500 people to at least sign up for the mailing list, I'll launch this year. If not, I'll chillax on this project for a bit and launch another time, maybe next year. But I am very excited about this one. So I would like to get the ball rolling as much as possible. That's the thought anyway. Yeah, Trisha's 2 least favorite things: surprise harems and delays. There you go. Maybe you should have a Discord just to keep track of the files. Well, no worries. I have a backup now. I just didn't have a backup then, which is, of course, the problem. It's always when you don't need a backup that you realize that you need a backup. Very curious to see how this new comic goes. Already signed up. Thank you. Yes, we're doing the like soul reaping genre for this one because I like it. And as far as being a dark fantasy, this is going to be more so of an epic dark fantasy. So it's like, yes, there's going to be elements of horror, and there's going to be some general darkness, moodiness here and there. Obviously, you can see we have an abandoned castle, somewhat, I don't want to say apocalyptic, but definitely spooky. But there's also going to be that feeling of epic fantasy or high fantasy where you're adventuring and exploring new locations, meeting new people. And I guess the funness of the characters helps balance out the moody, dark themes, and it helps contrast both of those, make them pop more, make the comic more engaging. So that's good. 100 pages is pretty deep for a comic. Oh yeah. Well, it's gonna be like this, basically, how we're how we're printing it. Actually, it's going to be thinner than this. It's going to be like roughly half this size. Because normally manga, naturally, manga, they post chapters and then just collect them in volumes. But the manga volumes are usually fairly high in page count. Usually like 200 to 300 pages. This one's about 200. So yeah, it's going to be like half that. But it's still going to be thick. I like my thick boys. Put that back. Oh god. Why do I ever take these off the shelf? It's good. It's good. But yeah, I have mentioned before in other videos that I would like to do more long form storytelling, and what I was really referring to is this project. Like, this is what I actually had in mind when I was talking about that, is this specific series. I've definitely written a lot of one-shots and, open-ended one-shots that could be continued if I ever wanted to get back to them. But this is the series that I'm committed to making ongoing. And yes, having them thick boy books. So, given that it's a lot of time, effort to make each book, I really want to make sure that it's worth it all, that I'm not like just overworking myself for no reason. I want to make sure that this has an audience, a sizable audience that's interested in it, so that I can make it work, It's part of the reason why I want to make sure that we get like 500 people on the mailing list. That's basically you saying, yes, I'm interested in it. Yes, do this comic. That's all I need. And then I just use the email to notify you when it launches. I don't abuse my mailing lists. That is one thing that I'm sure many of you can agree to. But yeah, it's going to be nice to have so much to read in one volume. Yes, and I do kind of have this plan to make each book, even though it is a series and it's ongoing, and you do leave off on like cliffhangers here and there, I do still want like the end of the book to be satisfying. I've kind of mentioned it before when I read like issues of American comics. Sometimes I would get to the end and I would be disappointed because nothing really happened in this week's issue or whatever. But I don't want the books to be like that. I don't want to do an entire book where nothing happens. I want the main storyline to always be progressing slightly, and I want there to also be like side storylines that are concluded by the end of the book. Stuff like that. That's the idea anyway. But yeah, super excited. Yeah. I do love fantasy, of course. And this is going to be a pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? Pretty intricate one. I'm already like planning out maps and stuff for different places characters are going to be traveling to, writing out lore for the country, all stuff like that. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, definitely look at the mailing list. Definitely tippy tap your email into there so I know that you're interested, so that I know that you are a potential audience. And thank you in advance. But yeah. So, ideally, of course, I'd be done the Horizon Quest campaign already. But like I said, we just witnessed a delay because we had to switch printers with the other book, not even Horizon Quest, the other book that was offered on the Indiegogo page is the one that's holding the rest of it back. But hopefully those books come in soon. If it doesn't come in this weekend, I will certainly be upsetty spaghetti. So, how's everyone else been? How's your weeks been? Since I haven't been uploading as much. You miss these Fridays with Dannphan? No worries. It's all coming back. Do you want to hear about my time at EternalCon? I have a few stories. There can be some fun moments at these conventions and some silly moments. Thanks for the super sticker. I never know whether or not I should even bother clicking on them because they don't actually show what the sticker is on StreamYard, which is a shame. But you know, overwhelmed with some photography work. I volunteered as a photographer for an SF convention recently. Oh boy. Yeah. Mostly hanging out on Twitch streams. Been alright, just reading the Spy X Family manga. Yeah, it's been pretty good recently. Solid stuff. Tell us about the con. Alrighty. So, the convention was okay. We had a table at Artist Alley, and a couple fans did stop by the table. We said hi. It was nice. There were no creepy fans. You know that joke where someone says if you put out your comics without like wrapping them in like saran wrap or plastic, that somebody could just pick up your comic, read it, and then not pay for it? I always thought that was like really silly to say, because who would do that, you know? But somebody did that to me. Somebody actually did that. And I wasn't even mad. I was just fascinated. I was like, wow, no shame whatsoever. They read the entire issue of It's Not Like Getting a Job Will Kill You. It said, hope you continue the series. It's good. Put it down and left. Oh, man. It was really funny. Did you say there was an incident? Oh, there was an incident. All right. There was an incident involving a green dot. But yeah. That was a really funny moment. There were other like odd moments like those. Some guy, the table caught his eye in theory because I had like some pinups, you know, some posters from previous campaigns on the table. And he comes over and he's like complimenting the pinups. He's like, yeah, they look really good. You know, I like doing pinups, but like with real women. And then he looks at me. He's like, have you ever considered doing pinups? It was like, oh boy. Oh, buddy. Oh, dear God. So that was an awkward conversation. The more awkward part about that is that Adam wasn't there for that interaction. And, you know, my creep alarms were going off. Like, uh-oh. Oh, this guy wants to see me in a bikini somewhere. Oh, God. And you know that he would not have said that if there was a guy next to me who could punch his lights out. But it's one of those things. You should always keep Adam with you just in case you get awkward conversations. Yeah. Well, we were kind of exchanging moments to go walk around the convention. And the way Adam kind of figured it is that I would be the one people would want to like sign the comics more often. So like in theory, I should stay by the table more often, which I guess is kind of true. But we took turns like watching the table while one of us would walk around, and there was some fun stuff to see here and there. But overall, meh. I didn't get to walk around the entire convention, which is a shame because there were some people who stopped by the table that I was thinking about going to see their table, but I just never found where their table was, or I don't know. There was like a whole section that I didn't get to walk by just because of how the time worked out. And maybe next time. But that's why you keep a fire extinguisher under the table. Less problematic to explain than pepper spray, maybe. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, so that was why he wasn't at the table during that moment. It's just because he was walking around. But yeah, and there was another, you're not supposed to solicit. You're supposed to just stay at your table, not call out to people, just let them come to you, and if they're interested, they buy something. But there were a lot of people soliciting at this con. Definitely, oh my god, they had like 2 or 3 psychics at the convention, and they were shameless. They were not. Reminds me of like being in Italy and having like gypsies come up to you or something. I guess it is kind of similar, isn't it? But yeah, they were when I was walking around, they would like be yelling at me like, "Hey, do you want a calm reading?" It's, no, stop. And then like at one point I was downstairs just minding my own business, walking through the tables, looking around, and another psychic aggressively comes right up to me, not even slowing down her speed. It's like, speaks to me in the most raspy voice ever. I think she was a smoker. She goes, "Hey, you want a psychic reading?" I'm like, oh god, no, stay away. I need the cross to keep them away. Yeah. But yeah, they were very aggressive. They were. I mean, I guess it was working because they did have some people at their table. But yeah, very, very uncomfortable. And like I said, you're not supposed to solicit. You're not supposed to do that. You can't just guilt people into coming to your table, or like, I don't know. Yeah, not today, Satan. Right. But if she was real, she would already know. There you go. Yeah, I was saying if they were real psychics, they would find a much better way of making money than this. But yeah. It's whatever. At least none of them grabbed me. I can say that much. They were very aggressive in approaching me and yelling at me, but they didn't physically touch me. And if they did, they'd get knocked on their ass. That's no good, I mean, just the yelling and running up to people in general is no good. But yeah, there was also another guy stopped by my table who was trying to like market my stuff. I'm good. I'll be okay. Yeah, some people just have like certain words or phrases that they use that immediately go off in my head as, "Oh, you sound like a scam artist." I don't think I want to be around you. He did buy a comic though, I'll give him that. At least he was willing to invest $5 in scamming me. But yeah, one of the regrets that I have is that I didn't bring any business cards with me. Big rookie mistake, because everyone was asking for a business card. Everyone wanted a card. All I could do was really like point them to the website. It's like, oh, just go to burningstarcomics.net and you can see all our comics, except for Horizon Quest because it's not on the website yet. But yeah, next time definitely need to bring some business cards. It's probably a worthy investment. Although I guess some people might just want to collect the business cards even if they never actually contact you with it. But that's fine. So long as you can get them to remember you, I suppose. Yeah, at one point, so like I had business cards printed with a friend of my mom's who said, "Oh yeah, I can print you business cards." And then she printed them for me, but they didn't look very good. And I didn't want to use them because they didn't look very good. So I just left them here under a pile of stuff. But yeah, like yesterday, I decided to actually just order business cards from like a professional place that would make them look good. So next time I will be prepared. You could get one of those business cards that had a QR code on it. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I didn't, but all I really need is like to put the website URL in there, right? I guess it's like less work to scan with your phone to get to the website, but at the same time, my website doesn't look very good on mobile. So I kind of would rather them just actually use a computer to find it. Yeah, I'm not a whiz at website design, in case you haven't figured that out by now. My website is functional, but I don't really know how to translate it to mobile. Yeah, what's the sense of business cards in the era of internet and social media? Well, some people put their social media on the business card, I suppose. I also put the website on in the inside of all the comics so that people can always just look in the comic and see it, which is good. That's solid. Anyways, the big thing that happened was an incident involving a green dot. I guess some of you who are subscribed to and listen to the Dannphan's channel already know this story, but I'll tell the story. I might as well. It's a funny story. So the day before, when we're setting up our table, we asked someone about, what does this convention normally do for food? And I guess he didn't really know that much. Maybe he wasn't told very much about the convention. Maybe he was a new guy there. I don't know. But he kind of goes, they sell like hot dogs and stuff at the cafeteria. And we were like, oh, okay. So that's kind of what we were expecting. And the first day that we were doing the convention, we bought some food and water at the cafeteria that they have there. And it was fine. It was fine stuff. Then later on, while I'm walking through the convention, I was actually recognized by someone who had their own table. So I went up and talked to him for a bit. Nice guy. Cool dude. And he revealed to us that there was apparently a green room, that's what they call it, where they have free food. And supposedly it was for, and I quote, all of us. And he mentions like he's been going to this convention for years and they always are supposed to let you know about the green room because that's like where you're supposed to get your food. And, they have a sponsor who provides the food for the convention. And we were quite shocked to hear that, naturally. Because it's like, well, that's not what we were told. We went to the cafeteria. But, we shrug it off and we're like, well, at least we know now where to go. So the next day, oh, good. I should also mention that we Adam also asked I guess one of the security about it, and they were like, oh, they didn't tell you about the green room. Super nonchalantly, oh, really, you didn't hear about that? Everybody knows about that. So the next day, we come back for day 2 of the convention, all excited. Adam goes up to the green room and brings back some water that morning because yay, we get water, free water, because we're artists at a convention. Yay. That was nice. And later on, we asked the people next to us too if they knew about the green room. They didn't know about it either. But then we asked another guy across from us, did you know about the green room? And he was like, yeah, of course, they told me on day 1. And that was supposedly his first year at the convention. They told him about it. They didn't tell us, and they didn't tell the person next to us. So, it was a bit odd. And at first we thought maybe it's just because the convention is kind of disorganized, because day 1 they weren't announcing any of the events or handing out any pamphlets to let people know where the events are and stuff like that. So we thought, oh, well, maybe they just had some miscommunication. Maybe not all the information was relayed to everyone, right? It's fine, whatever. Lunchtime rolls around. Adam's like, okay, I'm going to go up to the green room. I'm going to go see what kind of food they have there. This is where the good stuff gets. This is where the story begins to hit its climax, you see. So he goes up there to the room and he's kind of looking around not sure if he really wants any of the food there. It's kind of like what was it, pasta? It was some Italian place that was sponsoring the convention. And he's looking at it is pasta really good when it's been sitting around for a while, But then some woman in the room points at him out to one of the security guards. And at first he's like, is she pointing at me? What's going on there? Security goes up to him and says, I'm sorry, can I see your lanyard? It's like, oh, okay. He had his I don't know, flipped around or something. He shows oh yeah, I'm an artist. If I'm supposed to be here, right? They said that the food was for us. And she flips his lanyard around and she's like, oh no, you don't have the green dot. And he's like, green dot? What does that mean? Am I not supposed to be here? And she's like, yeah, only people with the green dot are supposed to be in the green room. And he's like, well, how do I get the green dot? What does that mean? And she gets a little bit, I don't want to talk about this. She says, you're going to have to ask this other guy about that type of stuff. But I'm going to have to ask you to leave. So he does. He leaves. Confused, baffled, as I'm sure many people would be. And some other guy was eating in the room, and he got in a conversation with Adam later, and he's like, I didn't hear anything about a green dot. I don't have one, and I was allowed to eat in there. So it's what's going on? I don't know, maybe because Adam was looking suspicious by looking at the food I don't know. But he goes up to the guy who, I believe it was the event organizer, the top guy who's putting everything all together. And he's like, so what's the deal with the green dot? Well, is it seniority or something? He's like, no, only certain people get the green dot. And he's like, so who gets the green dot? What does it mean? And this guy just keeps on deflecting, like not really giving him an answer. He's like, is it a need to know type of thing where like you can't tell me? He's like, no, nothing like that. and then at some point he gets like tired of Adam's questioning and just goes, who are you? Why are you asking about the green dot? or Adam says that he said it in a way like, who are you? You're a nobody, like very rudely. And so Adam like kind of backs off. He's like, well, I'm an artist, and I was told by another artist that the green room was for us. And then the guy like gets like suspicious, or goes like, oh yeah, an artist told you that? Like he didn't believe him, like Adam was lying or something. And then he backs up on that statement and goes, well, I guess some artists have the green dot. So, okay. But yeah, naturally, Adam didn't really get any answers out of that guy. And I think he ended it by saying only the president decides who gets the green dot. Don't know who the president is, but okay. So he comes back and he like relays this information to me, and I start laughing because I think it's so like silly. It's such a silly attitude to not be transparent about it so that we understand what's going on. Instead, they have this attitude like, who are you to inquire about the green dot? It's like, if you just explained it to us, then we'd know for next time. You don't have to be rude about it, right? But yeah, and then like the guy who I was talking to, the other artist from before, he comes up to me. He's like, oh my God, I heard you guys were kicked out. I'm so sorry about that. He says, I don't have a green dot. They didn't tell us anything about a green dot to need to get in the green room. And we're all just very confused. Once again, we go over to a guy across from us who was told about the green room. And he's like, no, I don't have a green dot. They didn't say anything about that. And we're like looking around, like thinking to ourselves, who has the green dot? Who was actually chosen to go up to the forbidden green room? What is going on, you know? The Green Dot Society doesn't talk about the Green Dot Society. Yeah, basically. Sounds like a Seinfeld episode. Why aren't you wearing a ribbon? Well, it's funny because there was a Seinfeld episode called The Red Dot. It wasn't about this per se, but it did feel like a Seinfeld episode. Like I was trapped in some really goofy, petty, I don't even know, man. It was very sitcom like. Yeah, we never found anyone who had a green dot. Everyone who was up in the green room that we know of and then got to talk to said that they did not have a green dot, and that they were not asked to leave, never told about the green dot, and we're all under the assumption that the green room was for everybody. It wasn't just Adam who was kicked out, though. I heard that there was some other girl who was kicked out. It wasn't me. I never got a chance to even go up to the green room. But supposedly there was another girl who was kicked out. I wish I'd gotten to talk to her. We don't know who it was. But very weird. Very weird experience. Funny, but weird. So, yeah. What was I going to follow that up with? we were coming up with theories for why this brand new green dot protocol was made. One of the theories is that they were running out of food, or realized that they didn't have enough food for all the vendors, and then all of a sudden, last minute, tried to establish some system for who was actually allowed up in the green room to get food. But because there was such bad coordination with the event planning, they didn't actually relay any of this information. And, naturally, when you don't set up your event properly, you don't want to admit that you had to super last minute set up some sort of system for getting into the green room. I really do wonder who had the green dots, though, because there had to be somebody, right? There had to be somebody who had a green dot. Otherwise, in theory, that woman wouldn't have pointed Adam out as not having a green dot. I don't know. Yeah, this all sounds very sus. Yeah, right? What are you hiding? What's in that green room? What is in that pasta of lies? I don't know. They should have at least had a sign saying green dots only. Yeah. Well, the second conspiracy theory that we came up with was that green dot was code for person I want kicked out of the room. But it wasn't even me who was in the room, keep in mind. It's I kind of get it if somebody who recognized my YouTube channel pointed me out and was she didn't like the DCYA book that I wrote, kick her out, right? I would get it. I wouldn't agree with that behavior, but I would understand why that would happen if it were me in the room and somebody recognized my read through and was bad, right? But Adam, he's not very popular. No offense to Adam, but I'm just saying, he has his own YouTube channel, and obviously we do the Dannphan's channel, but I don't think a lot of people see him enough to recognize him out in public and be oh, that's the guy who was with the Dannphan channel, kick him out, right? But I don't know. Now that I say it out loud, I do remember a somewhat spicy video where me and Adam were in the video, and we were destroying the physical copies of the DCYA books. And in theory, if that woman was actually a DCYA writer or something, in theory, they could have come across that video and recognized him as being the guy destroying the books, because he was kind of the main focus of that video, because he was the one actually doing the slicing and stuff. But I mean, did that video even get that many views? I kind of just did it for the funnies, Let's see. How many views did that video get? Oh my god, it was so long ago, I don't even know. Oh, there it is. We destroyed these cringe DC comics. Oh, it did get a good bit of, not a good bit of views, but it got 4,600. That's not crazy though. That's, But yeah, that could be possible. I wish I'd seen the woman or something. Maybe I could recognize her. Ooh, wouldn't that be something? if I, because they always have the pictures of the writers and the authors at the end of the DCYA books. So it would be fun to track them down. Which one are you? Assuming that they are a DCYA comic person, right? Assuming. I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, It's interesting. I would be curious to know more about the situation. Unfortunately, we didn't get to talk with anyone who actually had a green dot, so we don't actually know what they were told. That would be unfortunate though if the green dot was genuinely like code for bad comic person and we were just discriminated against at EternalCon. That would be unfortunate for sure. Either way, I don't think we'll be going back because even if we weren't really discriminated against, we didn't see like a whole lot of it was a kind of just generally bad interaction to have with that other person. And Adam was like, he was laughing about it afterwards, but he was genuinely upset when it happened. So obviously, like, I'm upset that someone upset my boyfriend. Yeah, I can only guess the green dot was meant for celebrities. Maybe. I don't know. On the website, they would have like certain artists that they list that I would assume would be like celebrity artists. But the guy across from us was also on that list with his photo and everything. And he said that he wasn't told about the green dot. He was told about the green room, but he wasn't told about the green dot. I don't know if he's actually a celebrity artist. He's a cool guy, you know. Adam had a whole conversation with him, and he was nice. He didn't enjoy the con at all. Unfortunately, he didn't have a lot of people stopping by at his table, and he was pretty disappointed when he left. He actually packed up early. Poor guy. We ended up buying some stuff off his website, though. So, but yeah, it's just like not a good attitude to have towards someone who signed up to be a vendor at your event in general. But then, like, we also didn't see that much traffic throughout the convention. Like, there was a good crowd, sort of, but it wasn't enough to really make it super worth it there. So I think we'll probably pass in the future when it comes to going to that con. We do have other cons planned for this year. Another one in New York, and I believe one in New Hampshire if we're lucky, one in Pennsylvania. So that'll be awesome. Yeah. See more cool stuff. But yeah, very odd experience. Very odd. I wish that I had some form of, I don't know, conclusion to that story. I wish I actually knew the whole green dot situation. But I only kind of know half the story. I was hoping that some rumors would spread and I would hear about it later. But no, we didn't get any updates. But it was very entertaining. Will there be con announcements anywhere for your stuff? Would be cool to buy stuff and get it autographed. I don't know. Part of me is like, obviously I should let people know that I'm going to be at a convention. But part of me is like, if I give people too much, I don't want, like, I guess creeps to show up. There weren't any creeps that showed up, of course. Everyone who recognized me was cool, which is awesome. But yeah, I'm kind of like half and half about like how early I should announce that I'm going to be at a convention. In many cases, green rooms are for VIPs, but they don't tell peasants to know about it. That's fair. if they just told us like the green room was for like specific celebrity artists and stuff like that, then I would be fine with it. But the guy we talked to, he's not really what I would consider a celebrity artist. And he said that he'd been going to the convention for years, and that they're supposed to that the green room is for everybody, and they're supposed to let you know about it. So I have no idea. I got no clue. The conclusion should be it's not a very well organized convention. Probably better to think hard for next time before going there. Maybe. Who knows? Yeah. It was a very interesting Sunday, though. I'll give it that. It gave us a lot to talk about in between talking to customers. But, yeah. I think that's about all I really have to discuss about the convention. Other than that, it was nice. You know, got to talk to some people, talk to some fans, and got to sell some comics. Some people who genuinely like the comics and stuff like that, and were very supportive people. Yeah, it's good stuff. I think the people made the convention a lot more than anything else. It's just like getting to meet people there and talk to other like-minded nerds, you know? That was what was the fun, exciting part. The green dot nonsense? No, thank you. The solicitors? No, thank you. No, I don't want to do a bikini pinup. No, thank you. That is not my thing. No. Ugh. But, yeah. Anyway, I guess we'll end the stream in about like 5 more minutes. So, what do you guys want to chat about before I head out and call this a stream here? Some cosplay you found at the con? I didn't see any cosplay really. I saw like a big setup for cosplay wigs, but I didn't see that much clothing per se. You know, you get some t-shirts here and there, but not like, not really any good cosplay. It is really cool though, where at those conventions you have people who do like the homemade cosplays and they're selling their own made stuff. It's quite talented people out there in the world selling cosplays. Next projects, future things. Well, the next project for now is going to be Reaper, which is going to have most of my focus for a while. I'm going to put up a short preview on the Subscribe Star for those of you who are subscribed there. You can check out a few full pages for this pretty soon. Maybe I'll do that tonight, actually. Get that done stuff. As it says here, if we do get 500 signups, we'll launch this year. If not, I'll be launching later. So if epic dark fantasy sounds like something you're into, if you're into soul reaping in general, then you'll probably want to check this out. It's going to be a pretty thick book. The first book is going to be around like 100 pages. Not too shabby indeed. And damn straight, it's going to be well worth your money. And this is also like the biggest commitment I've made, because this I want to be a ongoing series and not so much a self-contained story, but a kind of an intro into something much bigger, which will be very exciting. Yes, good stuff. Oh god, I did see that. Did you see what he said was, did you see the leaked photos of what apparently is from the live action Snow White movie set? So I'm kind of hoping that that's fake, because that's bad. Even for modern day standards, that is bad. That is abnormally bad. Like, what the let me see if I can find it on Twitter again. Somebody shared it and it was on my fucking feed. I don't know if I can find it again just by scrolling down, but oh, there it is. Okay. All right, I see. So somebody retweeted from the quartering, actually. This is apparently what it's gonna look like. Oh no, you can barely even see a dress. You do not look like Snow White. I'm sorry, but you do not. And what it's they did say that they weren't gonna have them be dwarves, right? They said something like that. Now they were just magical people. But I mean, what the fuck is going on here? What are these character designs? Can you even call them designs? It looks like, you know, when you like get a stain on your pants or something and the school gives you like whatever clothes from the lost and found they can find for you to borrow. That's what this is. It looks like they just pulled a shitload of clothes from the lost and found and put them on. Look at these weird patterns that are clashing with each other. What is this? Ah, yeah, the good old medieval age where they had plaid and stripes and fucking checkerboard. What is this? What is this shit? What is this absolute fucking garbage? Ah. Sorry. I forgot to actually hit the correct screen. But this is what I'm yelling at. To be fair, I pressed the button. It just didn't work. It's one of those things where like you click, but it just didn't receive the click properly. Yeah, no good. This does not look like magical people. This does not look like dwarves. This doesn't look like anything. What is that face he's giving me? I don't like that face. Looks like he's doing the PewDiePie face. Oh no. It's gotta be fake, right? There's no way this is actually what it's supposed to look like. It's gotta be fake, right? Snow White and the hipster pirates. Yeah, right? This doesn't look like magical people. It doesn't look like anything. And that's supposed to be Snow White. I mean, her dress doesn't look that bad, but it's being covered up by like a giant cloak. There's no way. Look at all these clashing patterns on their shirts. Was the person who designed these outfits blind? What is wrong with this? Why did you... Even if you want them to not look like the original Seven Dwarfs, whatever. But this is modern art. It's the only way I can fucking... This is the 70s. That's what this is. This is like 70s, 60s clothing right here. Where like everything clashes, nothing looks good. This gross, disgusting garbage. You actually managed to make the Snow White live action remake worse than I thought it was going to be. They did it. I thought like live action remakes couldn't get any worse. I thought it wasn't possible. But this shitty character design they did here, that really pushed it right over the edge. That did it for me. It's baffling. Bafflingly bad. They should be ashamed. Circus clothing from the 70s. Yeah, right? The fuck is that? It's fucking crazy. I like some of the outfits pieces on their own, but not together and not on Middle Ages characters. Fair. If they were supposed to actually be from, like, a circus in the 70s, it'd be spot on. It'd be perfect for that movie. But that's not what this is. Corporate decision? Oh, man. That must be some brain-dented corporate. Snow White and the flamboyant magical creatures. Apparently it's what they're going for. Is it gonna be like one of those like half Middle Ages, half modern day movies? Like whatever that Cinderella movie was? Or what was it? Ella Enchanted? Is it gonna be like Shrek? Where it's like sort of Middle Ages, but more modern version of it? That's the only way you can kind of justify that as being even somewhat acceptable. Because it looks awful. That's so embarrassing. How have they not canceled the movie yet? Oh, well, it's just another example of why Disney's burning. They absolutely do not care about quality. That's what that says to me. We're done with the quality. Get it out of here. Quality is bigoted. All right. I think we're done. I think we're done with that. But to answer your question, yes. Yes, I've seen the pictures, and my initial reaction was, there's no way that's real. If you're telling me that's real, then my God, they somehow made a live action movie worse. Worse than I expected. And that is like an achievement. Good for you, Disney. You set a new record. Get them in the book, in the Guinness Book World Records. Worse live action reboot than expected. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me on this delightful Friday. We might do another game stream tonight if you've been following up with those. Adam has been playing a modded version of Fallout 4, which has been fun. It's a little bit of a spicy mod, but I've been really enjoying watching him play it. So if you're interested in that, check that out on Dannphan. In the description, I also show you or link you to the mailing list site. I guess it's called a site. So you can sign up for the mailing list for Reaper, which is hopefully my next project, or it's the one that I'm putting most of my effort into right now. If we get 500 signups, we'll launch this year. Gonna be exciting. But yeah. Thank you for hanging out with the Dannphan this Friday. I hope Have a good night. And I'll have a new video up Monday and Wednesday of this week. Even though I only did one video this week, I'll have 2 videos the next week. So hang in there. All right. Bye, everyone. Good night. See you on the Game Fan stream, maybe.